Good morning, guys. It's Saturday morning and I'm going to do a video for you all today because I have not done a video in about 2 weeks, and this video is going to be a cooking video. You can see my stand mixers behind me. This is like a brunch meal for us because on the weekends we don't wake up early. We tend to wake up a little bit later, and this is a really good brunch meal, like I said, to kind of get us started. The first thing that I'm going to make for you guys today is a raspberry coffee cake. Already in the blender I have, let me see, if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my recipe. Inside of the electric mixer I already have 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter that's been softened in the microwave for about 15 seconds, or you can leave it at room temperature for about 30 minutes. Inside of there with the butter is 1/4 of a cup of light brown sugar. If you have dark brown sugar, that's fine. And 3/4 of a cup of white granulated sugar. And in here, all I've done is turn the mixer on medium, and I've creamed the butter and the sugars together for about 2 to 3 minutes until it starts to combine together and it starts to look almost like a sugar dough. And once you do that, you're going to add in 2 large eggs, or medium, whatever size you have, one at a time, and you're going to beat well after you add each one and scrape down the sides of the bowl. So when that's done, I'll come back and show you guys what the batter looks like then. Thanks. Stay tuned. Okay, this is what the batter looks like after you have added the 2 large eggs to the creamed butter and sugars. And again, inside of this mixer is 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter that's been softened or at room temperature, 3/4 of a cup of white sugar, 1/4 of a cup of light brown sugar, and then I added the 2 large eggs. So from here, I'm going to show you guys what you need to do next. Alright guys, we're ready for the next step. In this bowl here, I have measured 1½ cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of just regular table salt, 1/8 teaspoon or about a pinch of ground nutmeg, and 1/8 teaspoon of ground cardamom. And if you do not have cardamom because it's very expensive and it's an Indian spice, just leave it, or you can add cinnamon in place of it if you would like. So that is what it looks like. So I'm going to take my whisk and whisk that up. And you want to make sure that it's going to be well combined. Okay, so I'm going to put that to the side. In this smaller bowl here, I have my liquid ingredients, which is 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, 1/4 cup of sour cream, and if you don't have sour cream, you can use plain yogurt. And also in this bowl, I have 1/2 cup of buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk, you can make sour milk with milk and vinegar, or you can use 1/2 or just plain whole milk. Either one will work fine. So I'm going to whisk those together as well. Okay, after you have both of those mixed up, you're going to add them into your other ingredients, the sugars and the eggs and the butter, in the electric stand mixer or in your hand mixer, whichever one you're using. And you're going to alternate the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients. Start with the dry, then add all of your wet ingredients, and then end with the dry. So pretty much you're going to use 1/2 of the dry, mix it up, all of the wet, mix it up, all of the dry, the rest of the dry ingredients. And I'll come back and show you guys what we need to do next. Okay, once I mixed up the batter with the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients, I added them to a 9-inch springform pan that I sprayed with Baker's Joy, or you can use vegetable spray or whatever cooking spray, non-stick cooking spray that you have, and you put it into a springform pan so that the sides can be released and it'll be easier to cut. But if you do not have one of these, you can do it in an 8-inch square baking dish, a round baking dish, or a pie plate will be fine as well. And while you're doing this, you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to take an offset spatula like this and smooth out the top of the batter, just like this, because you want it to bake evenly. And the batter is very thick, which is what you want it to be. So just smooth it out. And once you've done that, you can kind of tap it a little bit to get rid of the air bubbles. Like so. And in this bowl here, I have the streusel topping. In here, I have a ½ cup of all-purpose flour, a ½ tablespoon of ground cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, an 1/8 teaspoon of ground cloves, an 1/8 teaspoon of ground ginger, a 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar, and a 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. And I've whisked those together. And if you do not have the ground ginger or the ground cloves, just leave them out. It's fine. And to that mixture, I've added 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter that I diced up into about 1-inch pieces. And they should be cold, pretty much cold as you can get them. And you're gonna blend them together either with your fingers, a pastry cutter, or a fork. And I'm gonna do it with a fork. And it's really quick. You just kind of mush it together like this. And you want to do it until it gets nice and crumbly, so it can look like a streusel topping. And it should only take you a couple minutes, if that, to do it. Just put a little bit of elbow work into it. Okay. And just whisk it together. Now I know that this is called a raspberry coffee cake, so I've already taken out some. You can have fresh or frozen raspberries or whatever berries are in season. Like I said, this one's going to be a raspberry coffee cake. I have a 6-ounce container that I've already rinsed with water to clean off the berries, and you only want to rinse off berries right before you're going to use them. Otherwise, you're going to introduce mold to the fruit if you rinse it as soon as you get home from the grocery store. Okay. So once your mixture looks something like that, nice and crumbly, you can even do it a little bit more. But it's not going to be super, super small. And that's just the chunks of butter that you see throughout the batter, and that's fine. So, put that to the side. And like I said, I have a 6-ounce container of raspberries, and you're just going to sprinkle that across the top of your batter. Try to do it as evenly as possible. Okay. And if you have more, use more. It depends on your preference. You can use blueberries, blackberries. You can even add nuts to the streusel topping if you like nuts like pecans or walnuts or almonds. And then from here, you're going to take the streusel topping and sprinkle it across your batter as evenly as possible. Just like so. And what's going to happen is that this is going to bake right into the batter and create a nice, crisp, crunchy crust for your coffee cake. So it should look something like that. And you're going to put this in your oven at 350 degrees for about 40 minutes or until it's nice and golden brown. And when you insert a toothpick into the batter itself, it comes out clean. So I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's finished.